Are you feeling like there's something more for you to do? Or maybe you're feeling stuck, like, man, there's like this thing that just keeps gnawing at me that I'm supposed to be doing something. Well, why is it that some people, like, it looks like they are living in their purpose, but for you, you are stuck? You know there's something more, but you just can't figure it out. Well, today, what I'm going to go through is why you are stuck and you're missing one thing to help you truly live in alignment and live in your purpose. Welcome to Make a Slant Podcast. I'm James Wilson, and I help leaders and business owners clarify their calling and align their lives for purpose-driven success. So, what's the biggest sign that you are living out of alignment and you're not living with your true purpose? What's the biggest sign? You know, whenever I was in college in 2007, I completely flunked out of college. And then I was going, man, I needed a job. So then I got a job teaching kids drum lessons, and I really enjoyed the job. It was fine. But then after that, I started working at a kid's daycare, and then I started, I would get the elementary kids. I would work with them, and what I would do is I would pick them up from school, and then I would take them to the church because it was an after-school program, and then I would help them with homework, play games, and all that stuff. And then over time, I started to teach them. And then as I'm teaching them and I'm starting to see life change, I'm starting to see them adopt different habits, them, as far as with listening and doing the things I'm asking them to do, the relationships growing, I'm watching them change the expectations because they know what I was expecting in the classroom. And as I'm watching all these things, I started feeling this thing. I started feeling this thing that started making me think, I think I'm supposed to be doing something with this. I think I'm being called into ministry. And so one sign that you are living out of alignment into your true purpose is this word right here. Because it's the biggest sign, and it's a sign that you feel, that you can't shake. You think about it at nighttime, you think about it when you wake up, you think about it throughout the day. There's something you are supposed to be doing. You can feel it, but you just don't know what it is. It's like right in front of you. It's like catching air, but you're not alone. And so I want to help you with that. And so the old way is to try to figure it out by just leaving it alone. Like, hey, I'll think about it later, or you just kind of sit down and maybe think about it, or maybe you'll try to, maybe read a book or two, or you'll just kind of use hope, and maybe it'll get clearer over time. But then you get busy. And so you do anything and everything except deal with it and face it and try to get some clarity on what am I feeling? What is this gnawing thing at me that won't leave me alone? I'm sensing I'm out of alignment, and I'm hearing a call, and I don't know what it is specifically, but it's with my purpose. Here is the sign that you are out of alignment. Is if you are sensing what I call the signal. What's the signal, James? Well, think of it like this. Think of the signal in the Old Testament with Moses. Now, if you're not familiar with Moses, then you should read the Old Testament. So anyway, Moses is with Pharaoh, and he's walking around, and they're Israelite slaves, and they're doing the work that they ought to do, and Moses is sitting there, and he has everything he needs. I mean, he's a part of the royal family. All right, he's good. He doesn't need anything. He's got money, he's got food, he's got wealth. He could have women, whatever the case is, he could do whatever he wants. He's good. But something happened with Moses. And I want you to really reflect on this in your life, because he's living his life. Everything's fine until he sees an Israelite slave being beaten by an Egyptian guard. And he's bothered by this. Now, this is a man who, it's really none of his business, okay? But the thing is that he is so bothered by this. He's so driven to do something. He's sensing that there is a signal. There's something that's sparking in his heart, in his identity, that, hey, I need to do something about this. I need to do something. I'm going to do something. That's the signal. If you are out of alignment, you are sensing a signal. Now, this is not a woo-woo signal, okay? This is a clear signal of there is something God is calling me to do, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. The signal is just the first step, okay? And the thing is that Moses was so bothered that he did something about it, right? He actually killed that Egyptian guard, which set him off on a whole path. And I'm not saying to, you go do that, but I'm saying is that the signal occurred and Moses took action. And what I'm saying for you is a sign that you're living out of alignment is that you are sensing a signal. God is calling you to do something. Now, again, the old way is to just leave it alone, or to forget about it, or to get busy, or to maybe put it on the back burner. I'll get to it later. And you get so wrapped in all the other things that you need to do in life instead of recognizing that God's saying something and then move forward in it. So that's one sign, and the biggest sign that you are living out of alignment. Now, what I'm going to do is, just for this, I'm going to go ahead and give you the framework so that you can, because again, it starts with the signal, but for me, the podcast is called Make a Slant. And so I'm working and talking with like business owners or leaders that are slant leaders. Like, you go get it. All right. You are driven. You are purpose driven. You're ambitious. You're a go-getter. You're an achiever, high caliber. Like, let's go. Right. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking to. So if that's not you, I understand. But nevertheless, because the problem is, you can feel the signal, you can sense it, but what are you going to do about it? There's a difference between, I sense that God is calling me to do something. Oh, well, I already got a lot on my plate. But not you. So, in order to get clarity on what God is calling you to do, in order to get clarity on your purpose, and to make sure that you are living in alignment in your purpose that God has given you, is to start with the signal. Feel that. You're sensing it. Then the next step is to look, listen, and learn. Look, listen, and learn. That's the next step. Look at the pattern. Look in your life and look at the pattern. What has God put in your life? What are some things that you've been through? What has God said? What are the messages? What are the lessons that you've learned, right, as you've looked through these patterns? I'm sensing God calling me to do something. I'm looking back at the past and I'm saying, what has God done? I'm listening to what are the messages and what are the lessons I've learned. So look, listen, learn. All right? After you do that, then you need to go right over to the A, which is aspire. So now I've felt the call and what God's called me to do. I've looked back, I've listened, and I've learned those lessons. Now in the specific area of my life, and wherever I'm feeling this misalignment, this unfulfillment, this gap of purpose, now I need to aspire. I need to dream. I need to dream and say, God, you're calling me to this area. What would this look like if I lived in my purpose in this area? God, what would this look like if I gave the best of my abilities to this specific area? And again, this process isn't just for like one thing. It's the sign of you're out of alignment can go to multiple areas in your life. It can go to personally or professionally. So there's an area personally that you're maybe not in alignment in, or professionally. Either way, it's the same, because this is a strategic problem-solving framework. I'm telling you, it's like, this is the framework that changed my life. This is the framework that helped me go from flunking out of college to going back and getting my degrees and to transferring all that into ministry, and then being in ministry for 10 years, learning how to work with people, learning how to increase my emotional intelligence and all these things, and now in an executive position. Like, this is the framework. Even when I was like, hey, I want to write a book. Well, how do I write a book? How do I self-publish a book? Which I did. It was like, how do I do that? I'm like, okay, well, let me learn. Let me figure that out, because I was sensing the signal that I needed to write a book. And so then I wrote one, Pain Formation. Okay? So the reason why I wanted to just go through that is because like this isn't like this is not a specific framework for one area. This is a comprehensive strategic problem-solving framework that will give you the desires of what you're looking for. It'll give you the clarity that you need. So, again, feel the signal, look, listen, learn, aspire in whatever area that is, dream, all right? Don't start thinking negative with your dreams. Just dream. Just dream, all right? After you dream, well, dreaming is all good, but now you got to get to work. So what do you have to do? You have to navigate. You have to navigate. You have to move forward. Right? So you dream, aspire. What could this look like? Well, start moving. Let's go. All right? Because you're here. There's a starting point, but there's a certain place of where you want to be. I mean, actually, usually it looks like this. Right? There's like a mountaintop. All right? And this is where you want to be. You want to be on the mountaintop of whatever goal or whatever thing you're aspiring. But now you have to navigate. You have to go up. You got to navigate to that. And then after you navigate and reach whatever goal that is or whatever area from the signal you're feeling, once you reach that, then you transform. Then you transform. You turn into a new person. You're living in your purpose in that area. Remember, purpose is an all-comprehensive look at your life. It's not just one thing, okay? If God has called you to live in your purpose in your relationships, God has called you to live in your purpose in your workplace or in your business or on your own or with your friends, with your finances. Living in your purpose is not one thing. It's not just a job. Does that make sense? It's a lifestyle. It's going, I am living every area of my life for the Lord. And when you do that, it's actually called SLANT. So the signal, look, listen, learn, aspire, navigate, and transform. It's actually a 5-step framework called SLANT Method. Now, this biggest sign again that you are living out of alignment is that you are feeling the signal. So, when you feel the signal, will you move forward? Will you trust God? Will you get it done and stop wasting time? Or will you just get to it later? But if you are a SLANT leader, again, this is a Make a Slant podcast. So if you are a SLANT leader, you're going, I am going to live in my purpose. I'm going to increase my faith with the Lord, and I'm going to deepen my relationships. That's who I'm talking about. Okay? That's who I'm talking to. So if that's you, if you're going, I want to be successful in life, but I also want to be successful in my relationships, then the SLANT method is for you. Remember, you are one slant away from changing your life.